Okay, so today we're gonna look at Cameroon, another African country. As you can see, there's gonna be some typer here. I'm gonna start in this region with the highest populated country and then going down in the lowest. So today it's Cameroon. The only thing we're gonna talk about before we talk numbers is gonna be Cameroon has a population around 30 million people. Now we're gonna look how this country actually looks. Unfortunately, we're gonna see not that many street views as other countries, so it's already a red flag, I would say. We're gonna look how those people actually live in this land, and then obviously we're gonna look at some numbers. Again, those numbers are not always that accurate, but it's gonna kind of paint a picture, how things are there and where they're going. As you can see, the Cameroon already have an opening to a coast and kind of a weird shape for a country. You can see gonna stretch up all the way to the desert, almost the edge of the desert. So it's gonna be interesting geography, I would say. But let's start here in the north. They have some sort of the swamp here, I guess, for the animals. That will be something of the heaven. For the border patrol, gonna be a nightmare. Let's see what else can we see. They have a river here. Unfortunately, again, we don't have those 360 in this region, which kind of sad because probably is gonna be something interesting here. A huge city right here with the country that borders, and we're gonna go down. Not that much. We have one here. Let's see. Probably it's on the highway or some road. Yeah, as you can see. The good news is this is from 2022 December, so I would say pretty recently. And yeah, you're gonna see some old cars here, but we're gonna have some nostalgia, I would say, from the Europeans and the Western world. Old cars still running in 2022 in Europe. That's like a huge rare event, and if you find one, probably it's in the best shape that car ever was, or in the worst one. So yeah, it's gonna be at the extreme. Here you can see the highway, the road, whatever this is. I would assume, I'm not sure exactly about this one, but I think it was paved at some point. But right now, yeah, it's far away from something like that. But at least they have a road. They have a start. They go to this border, which is kind of strange. I never see a border, especially in this Western world, when you can actually, maybe in America, I would say, maybe in America with Canada, it's gonna be a different story. But here, not that often you're gonna see the road, and you can actually go on that road, and that's pretty much the border. Just pretty much you can just have a flat tire, pull over, and be in another country, pretty much. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff so far. Let's see what else we can find here. Again, now we're going south more. Not that much information we can work with, but it's kind of nice to see outside the city how things are going, and I would say not so bad. Kind of start to like those cars. Not sure exactly what kind of model it is, but I like it. It feels kind of raised up a bit, but I'm not sure if it came standard from the factory or if they raised those car up. But definitely some potential here with those highways. They already have they lay them down, but pave them and maintain it, that's a whole different animal. Let's move to a populated area now. Judging first impression from above, clearly there are some new ones made, I would say, a new type of construction, a type of layout, as you can see. So I don't think it's something like very old. Of course, it's not Europe, you're not gonna see that, but still pretty interesting to see from the satellite. From the ground level, yeah, nothing impressive. Wow, that's a huge hole there. They have electric power, which is good. They have some stores. They're missing the sidewalk, they're missing the road, but anything else seems to be pretty decent so far. Yeah, not that many points earning here in the infrastructure area, but at least again they have something. And I noticed something with those countries. I at least judge them very hard because that's my nature, just the way it is. When you live in the same timeline with other Western countries, European countries, America and Canada, also Commonwealth country and something like that. And also keep in mind, that's very important, the migration of humans start from Africa, so they should have the best chance to be the most evolved here, and it's actually exactly the opposite. You have the right, I would say, to judge them hard because of that. It just shows, doesn't matter how old you are, it matters more how you do, what you do with your time, I guess. But yeah, I judge them very harsh in those countries because, to be honest, I kind of want us to see them pull together and raise above their life right now, their standards, and see much more improvement in very, let's say, short time, like 10, 15 years around that, to see a really, really improvement. But yeah, so far they are looking at way, way too far from that. So yeah, that's why you're gonna see some harsh judgment in some area from me. But here they looks like they have some paved roads. Okay, this is 2023 September, so very recently. Yeah, I mean, I like motorcycle and I kind of like them to see them without helmet, I would say. But I'm not sure exactly how well it's gonna be in these roads. On one side, when they have low traffic, it's much more safe for everyone. When they have high traffic, like we have here in the West, chaos can break down. So probably that's why you're gonna see in the Western world, usually you're gonna have a huge amount of reglementation with cars, motorcycles, and stuff like that. And in third world countries, much more loose, let's say. So yeah, I kind of respect that. I like it. I hope they can maintain it, and I hope in one day, even here in Europe and the Western world, we're gonna go back to the, let's not basic, I would say, but to the good old days when you can actually enjoy freedom at the fullest. And hey, if you wanna ride a motorcycle without a helmet and you die, that's on you. Okay, now the environment here. Well, they have good paved roads here on the main one. On the side one, yeah, not something extremely amazing. You can see they just pretty much missing altogether. These guys sell some watermelons here. Not something to be proud, I would say, living in this part of the world, but we see more so far, so yeah. We can see a huge population here. Unfortunately, we don't have that much 360 and street views, but we have something at least, and I think we see, I would say, enough in this part of the world, part of the country. Yeah, the garbage here is just a no-no for me, always. Those guys, I'm not sure this is a playground or just met here to play some football, but they have some water here, so yeah, I guess that's something. Yeah, looking pretty bad. Let's move on to the different region. Strange enough, there is quite a few things to see. This one, okay. Hugely populated area, as you can see. Ooh, that's insane. Keep in mind, around 30 million people in this country, and a pretty huge, a pretty big country. So yeah. Wow, that's pretty much chaos here. Total Energy. I think it's a French company. Again, I can say I didn't check exactly, but I think 100% it's a French company. I'm not sure if there was a French colony at some point, but we're gonna see that in the data. Yeah, chaos. What else I can call this? But who knows? Maybe it's one of those organized chaos, and when things actually they're getting things done here. But it doesn't look that well, I have to say, so far. They seems to be more in this part, I want to say, more developed, but not by a huge amount. Let's face it. I mean, look at this. But let's look for the basic stuff. Let's look first of all for the rich people. Usually, like I say, follow the green, and you're gonna find something. I see more green in this area, but not a huge amount of, let's say, rich people. Something happened here. Probably some public swimming pool or someone from the hotel or something. Yeah, probably it's a hotel here. To be honest, it doesn't look that great, but hey, it's better than what is outside of the fence, I guess. And immediately you can see here it's pretty decent. Let me check this one again. Yeah, I think it's a hotel or something like that. Well, I don't know. Someone just came here to enjoy a nice evening, a nice dinner. But you can see exactly on the other side of the fence, just chaos pretty much break loose, and full chaos in full view, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, rich people here, like I said, I don't see them immediately. Probably they are at some point. Not sure exactly if they hide it or anything like that, but you can see you can move outside the ring of the city. Much more land, I would say, but also much more chaos, and we don't have street view this, which is kind of shame, but probably it's gonna be something similar that we saw in South Africa. probably something like that, I would say. Let's move on to the different location. Ooh, what else is here? I think it's one of those lakes, or I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, I think it's a lake, 100%. One of those touristy area, and it looks pretty nice. I always maintain that probably in those third world countries, you're gonna have a much better life living outside the town, the city that you are probably right now, than in the. You're gonna have much better life outside the towns than you have in the towns. So in the countryside, the life might be much simpler, but overall better, I would say. In those high populated, dense cities, is just probably going to have a huge problem with crime and small lands, anyone jamming together. Probably gonna say it's gonna be easier to find job, but let's face it, I'm not sure it's gonna pay that much for that job. And you're gonna have to buy groceries and at some point because probably you cannot grow your food there. So yeah, I don't think it's at the best it could be a push in the economic environment, but overall in the life quality, probably it's much worse. At least that's how I see it. Because let's face it, let's say probably 100 years ago, 150 years ago, everyone living in a countryside in small tribes, and that's how they live for thousands of years. So yeah, moving that quickly to let's say to a Western style environment in a civilization that lived for such a long time in a tribal environment, yeah, it's not gonna be easy and it's not gonna be nice. But I guess again, at some point you have to make the change, and like it or not, you're gonna have some generations to sacrifice it in that direction. It's sad, it sucks, but it is the truth. That's the truth. I have to say it. And that's happening in the Western world too, not just here. You have to sacrifice some generation, and if you want to, let's say, achieve a much better standard of living, but it's gonna take a lot of time. So yeah, you cannot skip civilization. Here, it's absolutely worst. Yeah. Do I need to say more? These fans, no idea what's happened here. Just looking inside this guy yards, just nah. I don't want to visit this guy house no matter what. And cars here, pretty much look at them, just rusty. All of them just got dents on that. But that's probably the smallest problem that they have there. Somebody decided to build an apartment building, which, by the way, I have to point out, every single windows has bars on it and doors. So yeah, probably definitely a crime problem. And I'm not sure exactly how much you're gonna pay for apartment. I think it's an apartment building. I'm not sure exactly. But it looks like an apartment building to me. So I'm not sure exactly how much you're gonna pay to live in one of those if you're renting or you're buying. But judging by the street and this misery right here, I don't think it's worth not even $1. So yeah, that's oh my god, that's my take on this one. Absolutely disaster, chaos and disaster. I think this is one of those marketplace. Unfortunately, we don't have a street level to see it in more detail, but judging by those umbrellas, probably it's the hot zone to be here. Who knows? Maybe it's actually the 0 point. It's the center of the city. It looks like the center of the city. So probably it's a prime real estate there. Who knows? But it looks bad. Here, not so bad actually. Look at this. Huh. Much better. Way too different. And from inside, yeah, it just got worse again. It just Oh god, it's pretty bad. They have a stadium, which is, I guess, it's Cameroon, so they have some pretty good. I'm not sure exactly if I can point one of them, but usually kind of heard when you look at those soccer games for the American viewers. We call it just football here in Europe. They have some good players here coming from this country, so yeah, I guess that's probably one of the best exports that they have. The talent in sports. Anything else, if you ask me what they export, probably some minerals and commodities pretty much, but technology or science, artists, things like that, if you ask me, I'm not gonna be able to name one of them. So yeah, that's gonna tell you a lot about a country, a civilization in a place like that. That's the reality. So far, the country doesn't look that great. The landscape, although it looks pretty nice, I would say. I'm interesting how it's gonna be on the coastline. Toyota Hilux, yeah, pretty reliable cars everywhere you're gonna go with them. We see them in Australia, we see them in pretty much all over the Africa, we see them in South America. I see it in Europe also, but in Europe, the roads are much better. So now you can pretty much getting away with much cheaper pickup cars or trucks, I wanna call it. So yeah, here in Europe it kind of fades away. The name is still pretty good, but it, usually it's much more expensive than, for example, a D-Max and Isuzu. So yeah, back to the country. Oh, they have some sort of the volcano here, I guess. Looking pretty good, and nobody bothers to make a 360 here, which is pretty sad. There's gonna be some really great images here, looking pretty nice from the satellite. What else can we go? Ooh, here, I don't think we have again. A lot of green, a lot of blend. As you can see, they have airstrip here, 100%. They have some buildings, this is kind of a village. You cannot scale it a city or a town, let's face it. And they have some sort of mining activities, I think. I'm not sure exactly, maybe I'm wrong. Mining, or no, they just chop up forests. So they have a wood industry based on wood. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, in the middle of nowhere, they decide to go there and make the best. I would say the best, not the best, it's not the best, but make some money from the resources. As you can see, pretty much you can see empty spots in the forest when they cut the trees. I mean, again, I cannot blame it for that. To be a lot of Western countries blame them, and especially the left blaming those countries, just like, oh, they're gonna cut the trees and they're gonna destroy the environment. But you have to think that they are probably 200, 250 years behind us, at least. At the best, probably much more than that. So they are not at the level that we are right now. So they kind of have to do those things. So yeah, that's it. Like, again, I have to say it, and I'm gonna say it as many times as I can. You cannot skip civilization. There are steps that you have to do it. You cannot skip them. You have to invent the wheel, use the fire, cut the trees, use the coal, use oil before you achieve a much better efficient source of energy. And I cannot blame them for that. I would say I cannot blame it. It's just, okay, it's Huawei. It just, again, it's a civilization, it's evolution, it has to happen. It sucks, again. Even here in the West, we don't have that much technology as we pretend to say that we have it. So even here, we kind cut some forests. Even in Canada, they cut a lot of them. They make it in a more sustainable way. Yeah, I get it. Then they're gonna do it here. But at some point, even in Canada, they didn't do that. So if you go back 200 years in Canada, it was a different story than it is today. So you have to see it from that point of view. But yeah, let's go on the coastline. Let's see how things are here. Probably gonna look much better. Yeah, it looks nice here. This is some sort of the gift shop or whatever it is. Probably 100% for tourists. Looking pretty interesting, actually. They have some interesting stuff here. Hopefully they actually make them and not buy them from Timo or something like that and then try to sell it here. If they make them themselves, I think it's worth paying the price, whatever they ask. Probably it's not that much anyway, so yeah. For them, it's a huge help. But if they buy it from China and try to sell it here, then it's a no-no to me. Wow, that's pretty huge shells here. But yeah, the land looks pretty nice. I like it. Wow, it looks actually, look at this, those waterfalls. Looks pretty nice. Pretty nice, I have to say. The sad thing is that we don't have more 360 to check. But let's check this one. It looks, yeah, this is from 2018, so the quality of this 360 not so great, but I can see how nice it is, and almost I can hear the noise. This part is actually pretty nice, and you can see not a rich area, not for the rich people only, just for the regular people. And it seems to be the house is a bit jammed together, I would say, but again, it's not that much population, so I think they can make it work at some point. It looks pretty good, and they have a highway here, which is wow. Look at it, actually in highway. Unfortunately, we don't have a street view there, but I bet it looks pretty good from the ground level here. Look at this, just not so far from this nice place. Let's see how what happened when you jam people together. Oh, they have some expensive boats here, or what is that? Or fishing boats. Let's check them. Fishing boats, but the more expensive kind. Keep in mind, 30 million people. You're gonna look at the numbers in a moment, and we're gonna see probably gonna have some low economic numbers, but so far the land is not bad at all. Actually, looks pretty good. Yeah, 30 million people. I am curious how it used to be probably in the 1950s when they start to collect more data on the population. Probably the population back then was much lower, and if they keep it at that level, probably today they're gonna be much better. But hey, again, the evolution steps. A lot of disease that they have, a lot of famine, which again, it's kind of a cycle. More people, you need more food, and the less you have, the more they're gonna die from starving. But also, the more people you're gonna have, the better you can put them together and work their way out of the poverty. But again, you need much more than just people. You need low corruption and really good opportunities. But yeah, it's a cycle that it's hard to break. But they will at some point. Probably again, we're not gonna be here in the next 20 to 200 years. But those apartment looks pretty horrible to me. But yeah, in 200 years, it's gonna be a definitely different story, even the population level and also how they live. But again, the civilization step in 200 years is not gonna be that much, so we're not gonna see like zero crime rate or stuff like that, or not even close to what we have in Europe. But it's gonna be better. That's it. That is for sure. I am 100% sure of that. Now here of this beach bar, whatever it is, they have some sandbags here. Probably have some problem with the high tides of the water. Who knows? This is 2016, so almost 10 years ago. I'm not sure exactly in which day this guy make these 360s, but it doesn't seem to be a lot of clients here at this moment. So yeah, things not looking that great for them. But again, the view, it's pretty nice. So yeah, if they have like a nice sunset here in the nice warm day, clear sky, could be a pretty nice place to have a drink. What else can we find here? Again, look at this, the coast city. Very, they kind of, again, they jam it together, everyone there. Probably at some point it was like just here on the coastline, and then they just pretty much expand and just end up with something like that. And as you can see, I'm not sure if they expanded here, but probably they look into it, judging by how those streets, I guess, are made. But we will see how the population is doing in the numbers in a moment, and we're gonna have a much better picture then. Yeah, okay, just what I said. Nice sunset here, looking pretty good. Again, I don't like to say potential. Every country has potential to be 10 times better than it is, even the Western countries. Can they do that? Ooh, that's a different story. Probably this is the capital. Not sure. Again, I don't like to check anything before I make those videos. I want to be surprised. First impression. Yeah, it is huge, and again, judging from above, the population is not gonna do that much better, I would say. Yeah, apartment buildings, absolutely horrible. I hate them no matter where you are. I don't give a fuck if you are in US or in the communist, I don't know, China. The apartment buildings, they will never look good. Not that tall. Maybe someone with like 2, maybe 3 floors, counting the ground level. Maybe if a really nice architecture made by someone who actually knows what he's doing and also execute it in a best way possible, maybe. but again, for small apartments, small buildings, not something insanely crazy. That maybe, and very few of them also. Otherwise, it's just a no-no for me. Okay, let's see what we can find here in this city. We have here an airport. As you can see, they just pretty much jam at every single one of them here in those small tiny places. Again, at least they have some greens here. In some other countries, we didn't see that either. So at least they have that. And they are close to the coastline. I want to check something. Yeah, pretty much in the middle of Africa, probably close to the equator. But again, I don't think it's gonna be an insanely nice environment. As you can see here, no, it is not. It's exactly how you expect a densely populated city in a poor country. That used to be like I said, 200 years ago, living in a tribe outside any Western technology or culture. Yeah, it just no. And I say culture because you like it or not, especially the Americans, the US, they were so successful exporting their culture. We watch their movies, we listen to music, we're using their social media apps. They were the most successful country at exporting their culture, and that is gonna influence you no matter what. You can say, oh, we are in a, I don't know, let's go India, for example, and we have our own culture and very strong, very important part of the day-to-day life. You're gonna get influenced by the American culture wherever you are right now. It's just the way it is. They were way too successful of exporting that. So yeah, like it or not, you're gonna have some Western influence in your life, even by using the phone that you're holding in your hand. That system probably it's an Android, which is made by US, by the way, by Google, or if you are a bit more rich, you're gonna have an iPhone, which has an iOS, which is clearly made by Apple, another American company. So yeah, like it or not, the Western influence comes to you. If you don't want to come to the Western influence, you can see here, just an American movie, right? See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not sure exactly. I think this guy is Gerald Butler. I'm not sure, but, and I don't know what movie is this one, but 99% it's an American. This one is not. I don't think that's probably something local. Yeah. Overall, I mean, you find those cities. It's pretty much the same recipe wherever you go in this country, and it is what it is. Again, I have to say, people that used to live in tribes, now you try to jam them together in a small places and force them to live together for a minimum wage, the lowest wage possible, with as much work as possible. And you cannot have a good ending to that again, but those are steps in civilization that they have to do. We have it here in the West at some point. Now it's a bit better, but we have our challenges too. So I would say overall, it's normal. It has to happen. Yeah, I have no idea what happened with this road, but it doesn't look so great. So probably those cars that they're driving there, I don't think they're gonna have inspection on them, because probably all of them they're gonna fail, but probably they fix them enough just to be at the minimum safe for the driver, at least, to drive those cars. What else can we see here? I have to say, we don't have that many street views, so it's hard for me to check the windows of the buildings to see if they have bars or barbed wires. But those that I see, they seems to be pretty good. So no, I don't see barbed wires or bars on the windows that much, at least. Here I think they have, yeah, here they have here. But yeah, I don't think it's a particularly safe country. And I say that because when I have a lot of people in a small places, just you can have it just the way it is. But yeah, here it doesn't seem to be the worst, that's for sure. But again, look at this. They have bars on the windows here, but I don't see the electrical wire on the fence. So yeah, that's pretty good. At least they don't have that. Probably because they cannot afford it. Who knows? But they don't have it. See. So yeah, I think that's enough for what those people, how those people live. Yeah, it's pretty much what I expect. Opportunities, yeah, they have a coastline here. Just stretch up to this swamp and just a bit of a desert. That'll be pretty much good for tourists. Who knows? We will see how they're gonna evolve. Now let's look at the numbers. Look at this: 30 million people and rising. And yeah, 1955, only 4.7 million people living in this country. At 4.7 million, if they maintain the population, let's say go up a bit, around 5 million people, they're gonna be in a much better position than they are today. But again, evolution, it is what it is. So 4.7 in 1955 with 1.6% increase rate, 74,000 people net increase, zero migration. That's hard to believe, but that's the data. Median age, look at this, 20 years old, and fertility rate 5.7, which is extremely high. Urban population, keep this number in mind, 11% in 1955. So like I say, 200 years ago, 100% of them, they didn't living in an urban area. Fast forward to 2025, 30 million people now, huge increase in population. Yearly change around 2.6% increase, so much more than used to be in 1955 with a much higher population. That will translate roughly in around 750,000 people per year, and they have migration on minus around 15,000. Median age, they got younger now. That's 18 years old. And fertility rate much lower, 4.2, which is still very high. Urban population, now look at this, 60% of the population. So back then in 1955, only 10%, let's call it, living in an urban area from 4.7 million people. Now 60% people living in an urban area from 30 million people total population. What could go wrong? In the future, they say by 2050, they're gonna be more than 50 million people in this country. So it's gonna be roughly more than 10 times. Yeah, more than 10 times than 100 years ago in the future in 2050, if that makes sense. Yearly change, they're going down 1.85%. That'll be roughly just under 900,000 people net increase, and migration minus around 30,000. Median age 23 years old, so they go older. Like I said, it's evolution, just the way it is. And fertility rate goes down under 3. And urban population around 70%, which is still very high, especially for countries like this. It's very high. Let's say life expectancy for both sexes, it's 65, let's call it years old. Female 66, male 62, which is pretty good. Infant mortality rate 44.8, and death under age of 564. I want to check the median age. No, I want to check these ones. Yeah, they're going down, so you can see they make some improvement. Again, it's just the way it is. You're gonna have high numbers in those countries. They're going down, so clearly evolution follows, let's say, the trend of the other countries. Well, what we can say about Cameroon, they speak English and French. Okay, now they kind of, okay, Republic probably was a French colony. So French colonies usually don't do that well. Cameroon probably, again, it's an example. Like I say, usually British one do better, but with some few exceptions, French you do okay also, but British are usually doing much better. Look at this, 66% Christian and 30% Islam. That's also pretty interesting. What else can we find here? I want to look at the demographic first. Yeah, the pyramid looking pretty stable, as you can see. We have some male surplus of the population by the age of 20, from the 0 to 22, and then they're gonna going in a female surplus population, but not that much, so they kind of stay pretty stable for them. Economic wise, GDP growth, look at this, 3.2, 3.6, 3.64. Those are not high numbers for that much population, that underdeveloped. Those supposed to be around 10% if you want to accelerate that, but Yeah, they're moving very slowly, I would say. GDP per capita, 1,000 is nominal right now, $1,870, and PPP around $5,760. Those are very low numbers, as you can see. Yeah, it's not much you can say about that. Overall, the GDP it's around 56 billion and PPP around 172 billion. So those are low numbers. It is what it is. We're gonna see how well they're doing. They have an unemployment rate. Unemployment rate was 3.5%. Now, every time we're gonna go with those numbers, depends a lot how the government count those people. Usually, some government count just the one that receive benefits from the unemployment and not the total unemployed people. Some other governments just count everyone who's not unemployed and in the working age. Now, 35% seems to be low to me, but if it's that actually that number, then it's pretty good, I have to say. We have Western countries with higher than that, so yeah, I guess it's quite an achievement. Corruption here, yeah, this one is not gonna be a pretty one. This is, like I say, perceived corruption, I have to say. It is what it is. We're gonna see in a moment. Cameroon, 26 points and stay the same. Yeah, at 26 points, they are perceived at more corrupt country, but you can see, yeah, it's a corrupt country, just the way it is. I'm not sure exactly how the government, which usually is the corrupt one, is gonna fight that. But like I say again, it's civilization. It has to go to some steps. It have to go to some levels. You can't just keep civilization. They will arrive there, but they're gonna take some time, and it's not gonna be an easy ride. Let's say. Okay, so I think we see enough with Cameroon. Interesting country. Those countries in Africa always gonna be interesting, especially those one. Keep in mind those one with the majority of Christian population. I would say this one it's kind of a 2/3 was 66%, around that Christian population and 30% something Islam. Pretty interesting to watch what's gonna happen in the future. Which way it's gonna go. Right now it seems to be more Christian, but that could change very fast. It's interesting to see those African countries with, like I say, majority like 85, 90, 95% Christian population. How they're gonna do in the future, comparing, keep in mind, comparing with the Islamic nation in the northern Africa. Is okay, they kind of have a, let's say, not disadvantage, I would say, but they're living in a desert here. But they have the coastline with the Mediterranean Sea. And that also it's an advantage for them. So we're gonna see how that is gonna play off. I put my money on those Christian majority countries, but we're gonna see how well they're gonna do in the future. Yeah. So far, Cameroon looking pretty good. Again, for the level that they are, and from where they start 200 years ago and where they are right now, with good and bad, it's not a country that you wanna spend your money to visit. I would say maybe you go there to make a documentary, or I don't know, for business purposes, whatever. But let's face it, you're not gonna go there. At least not most of the people for tourism. But yeah, it's in the right place for an Africa for the African country in this timeline. I would say, yeah, that's probably the most kind things I can say about it. Yeah, it's not a country within the Western. Someone from the West is gonna go there to say, "Oh, that's a nice country to move out. I can have a pretty nice, quiet life there." No, it's not. Just see it in these images. It doesn't look that great. But yeah, we're gonna see how they're gonna evolve in the future. So, my ask for you right now, it's pretty much check the other video that I make and try to make some comparison by yourself between those countries to have a better idea how things are around the world, not just in Africa. We finished quite a few continents. We finished South America, we finished North America, we finished those Oceania, Asia. We finished pretty much the main continents, I would say, and some countries in Europe. We're gonna finish Africa, and then I'm gonna go back to Europe and finish every single one of them. So we're gonna have some eyes in every country, which is going to be quite interesting on this channel to have checking every single country and see how those people actually live with Google Street View and 360s. So we can actually have an opinion, let's say, with our own eyes. That's a nice part of technology. You don't have to go there to see it. You just can see it from your monitor in your bed or a couch, whatever you're watching this video. Okay, so yeah, check the other videos and we will see you next time, the next country in Central Africa.